All right, you would have thought I had noticed this on the pre-flight. That's my alternator. It's missing. Well, it had a big problem with bearing was going bad, so they had to play with that. But I had a question about Gamis, and yes, I do. This is my second 310. I put Gamis on the first one, and they are super. But the key is you've got to have a EGT, exhaust gas temperature, on each engine. And you've got to have the CHT, the cylinder head temperature, on each cylinder, because you have to look at each one. And let's see, the Gami injectors, yeah, they're kind of buried down there. There they are, and each one goes to a specific cylinder. They're all marked because you have to set and you have to fine tune each one to get them. The goal is to get them within half a gallon, so everything kind of goes lean of peak together. And I run lean of peak, did it for 15 years on my other 310, and I do it on this 310, and it works great. But like I said, and yeah, a guy commented about how tight these are. They've not really had a hanger rash problem. They are extremely careful moving the airplanes around, so they don't have that problem. Now here's another guy with another engine. He's got Gamis too. I think they're a really good idea. Getting no paid endorsement for this, of course. I think they're a really good idea. Yeah. And somebody else's propeller, not mine. Thank goodness. But the thing you got to have with the Gamis is, and they're making good progress, they've been through lots of it, but the thing with the Gamis, oh, and here's that gear crank I mentioned, that they don't tell you in the manual when you release that thing to crank down the gear, that it's going to free fall and it is going to take your fingers out. I think I almost broke a few fingers on that. But to have the Gamis, you've got to have a really good engine monitor, like this little guy here. And that's the way you can go lean a peak and stuff. No. Oh, bad left fuel pump. Refuel? No. Interesting. But anyway, that's where you collect it, and you got this little port here, data, where you can download it, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, enough of wearing the battery out. All right, but it's really useful, and after every flight I look at my data to make sure it looks good. Yes. So that is the great tale of the Gami injectors, and I'll show you when I get home. I've got the computer there. Lighting doesn't seem to be very good there. There's better lighting. You can actually see me. It's always good to wear black in a dark setting. But anyway, I'll show you the data when I get home, and I think you'll find that interesting. Oh, here, by the way, this is what should be in that hole. That's the alternator. It's tied in there, and my other one, I guess, was leaking on the bearing. Not good, and they had to send it out. Oh, I talked about the fire bottle. This is one of the places where it exhausts in the front of the engine, and the fire bottle is back over there. Oh, and the one thing about the Gamis is, of course, these things have the turbochargers here, and I found that more difficult to work the Gamis because the turbine inlet temperature, or the temperature on the turbocharger, tended to go over limits if I wasn't careful. So it took some pretty good finessing, but thankfully I had some good help getting that squared away. All right, so here's what you can get with the JPI when you download the data, and they can analyze it. And it's really cool. This is the main screen, and from that I can just say I want to look at the left graph. Well, there we go. And say I want to blow something up. There's something I find interesting, so I can do a little square here, and then it gets bigger, and I can look at, you know, some little thing here that I'm interested in. Okay, let's go back. Well, that's looking at the left engine on a flight, and I look at all of these after I fly to make sure nothing's going funny. And the nice thing about it, with total of 12 cylinders and 24 spark plugs, if a spark plug goes out, I can see exactly what's going on, tell which one it is, left or right, because that trace, as you see over here, it talks about, you know, which color, which trace. Over there you can see which one is dead. So that makes it real easy. And then custom graph, like here, I look at the difference between the temperatures. And that's part of the whole, you know, making sure that everything is properly aligned. And then I can go back to all graphs here, and then I get all my graphs back, and I can get all sorts of stuff here. I can get a flight summary. Okay, I also have my Great Lakes on this, so I can see the data on that. But I can go to flight summary, and it gives me a little chart. Left engine, you know, all the parameters are being where they should be in the right engine, which is the coldest and warmest cylinders. And then I can go up here to this data up here, and I can see the average, max, and this is a good way to tell, hey, is something wrong with one of the cylinders? And everything like that. And of course, when you're running, you know, I mean, I've got everything here, which is pretty amazing, because this has a flight data recorder. It's got a air data computer on it. It gives me all sorts of stuff. I got lat long, altitude. Well, I'll show that. That doesn't display here. That I'll show in the data. But here I got the left engine. I got the right engine, of course. And it's all the various data. And I can see if I'm pushing the any of the limits or if anything's going strange. And when I run Lena Peak, I tend to get close on the temperatures on the turbine, and I got to be very careful with that. But let's say I want to look at all the data. I've got this where I get the summary down here, and it takes it a while to populate. Takes it just a second to get the information in there because there is a lot of data. All right, here we have the data spreadsheet, and let's take a line here. I've got, you know, it's got the date, the time, all the left engine parameters at that specific time. It's got the EGT. It's got the cylinder head temperature. It's got the turbine temperature, the difference in EGT and stuff like that. If it's cooling too fast as a cold thing, manifold pressure, left RPM, left horsepower. That's kind of cool. Left fuel flow. Second one I don't use. It's got fuel pressure, oil pressure, battery. I don't have a second battery. It's got, okay, left oil. Let's see what else it's got. Let me move over here just a minute. And this is the kind of cool part here. Get all the way over here to the end. Takes a while to scroll. Yes. Okay. I mean, we got lat long. We got altitude. We got the speed. Now that's GPS speed. So you know, ground speed will affect that. And we've got let's see, fuel, amount of fuel used, oil temperature, stuff like that. So it's just got everything you'd want to have. Of course, I don't have an air data computer on the Great Lakes, so I don't have the information which would be useful as far as altitude, speed, and all the engine parameters. But, you know, I get enough, and I'm not going to get that fancy on the Great Lakes. So that's the Gami data, and you can look at it after every flight. You can just look at all sorts of stuff. And like I said, if I'd had a problem with any of the EGTs, of course, it would be dead here, and that'd be very easy to see which plug that is. I just tell my mechanic, which makes it so much easier. And I've had that before. You know, I come back, or I have an issue with a plug, and I say, you know, cylinder number 3, right mag, that plug is dead. And he knows which one that is, because it's either the top or the bottom. But anyway, that's about my Gami experience, and I've run Lena Peak for over 2 decades. 15 years on the other airplane, and I've had this airplane 6, 7, 8 years. I don't remember exactly, and I've run Lena Peak on it. Like I said, it's a little more touchy than that, but Mr. Bush there has exactly the same 310 as far as engines and stuff as I do, so he was very helpful in how exactly to run Lena Peak and how to operate the engine and stuff like that. And I do it like he does, and he seems to do fairly well with it, so I'm very happy with that. So anyway, that's the story on the Gamis. Thanks for watching.